This one's for you, traveler.
It's time to go and worry about nothing.
Our destination experts plan and design these tours. Local experts guide them.
It's like having friends in the area who know all the best hangouts.
Top trending tours include Hawaiian Adventure, Iceland's Magical Northern Lights, Reflections of Italy, London and Paris, National Parks of America, and Tropical Costa Rica.
Is there a moment that you've always been waiting for? Out there in this amazing world, there are countless experiences calling out to each of us. Crossing the wide open plains of Africa, walking on the bottom of the world in Antarctica, stepping into the storybook landscapes of New Zealand, connecting to the past and the future in Israel, looking out over the stark beauty of the Australian outback. These are the special moments that we look for in life. Everyone's is different, but there's one thing that those adventures all share.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
They remind us what life is all about. With Colette, your moment is closer than you ever imagined.
Sometimes life invites you to cast off and move into the current. It might flow in ways different than you expect. Yet as a traveler, one who understands the true joy of adventure, that's what you're really after. Those beautiful moments of anticipation right before the world reveals itself. So set your course. Make travel a part of your story and embrace the journey. That's what the trip of a lifetime is all about. The time has come. What are you waiting for?
Wow, what are we waiting for? Oh my God, that just like gives me chills. I'm ready to go. I don't know where that Jeep was going, but I'm ready to get on that Jeep and just go wherever it was going. I'm telling you. Oh my goodness. Hey folks, welcome to Travel Chat Live. This is gonna be our first time hosting a land tour partner, and I'm so excited. Breanna, welcome from Collette Tours. Welcome.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here. This is my first YouTube live, so how's everyone doing?
What? This is your first YouTube live. Well, welcome, welcome. Well, hey, folks, if you're new to the channel, I am Walter, your independent travel advisor. We service cruise, land, luxury, and expedition. And tonight we are going to be talking about lots and lots of land tours all over the globe. Now, these can be pre or post cruise, because you all know I do book a lot of cruises, or we can send you on some incredible independent land adventures. So I see Becky, Art, and Betty, and oh my God, Art says he needs a vacation. Yes, we can help you with that, Art. We're going to be talking about that tonight. Now, before we get started, I'm going to throw this out there. I'm going to just leave this out there for the show. Y'all can figure it out. But take a look at that photo that's up there, that absolutely stunning photo from one of the Collette Tours. And I'm going to throw it out there and let you guys try to figure out, where was that photo taken? Where in the world is that photo? I'll be very curious to see if anybody can get this right. So welcome to the show, everybody, and welcome, Breanna. I'm just so excited and so thankful for you coming on the show and helping us. You know, one of the things that I love about what I do is I get a chance to meet people like you, and I get to, a chance to work with people like you, because folks, I'm just one person, and we have so many, tour opportunities and cruise opportunities and things like that I can't know it all. So I rely on people like Breanna who she knows Colette so well that, you know, if I need some help with something or I need advice on something, I'm going to reach out to Breanna. So Breanna, why don't we just start with, who in the heck are you and what do you do?
All right. So again, hello everyone. Thank you so much for having me, Walter. I am an account manager at Colette. I've been with the company just over a year now, and I've been in travel for going on 7 years. So I've been in the industry for a little bit, but
Wow.
I'm an account manager at Colette. And as someone who came from being in the travel industry, being in a role like Walter's, I'm now able to pivot and help the advisors in a way that maybe I wanted when I was a travel advisor, or just be there as their support. So essentially what I do is I work hand in hand with the travel advisors in our partnerships team to just educate them, right? Like get the word out there about Colette, help you guys, as in Walter, better know our brand, who we are, answer any questions, like you said, come out and do things like this and help educate people about our brand. Yeah, so that's Bree.
And they're not here, but Breanna has 2 amazing dogs that are absolutely awesome. I saw them during our first chat. Oh, I see Betty has a guess. That's an interesting guess, Betty. New Zealand. I'm going to be curious. Anybody else think that might be New Zealand? If you're just tuning in, the question that I'm throwing out there to everybody is, where in the world do you think that photo was taken? So we've got 1 vote for New Zealand. Anybody else think New Zealand? Anybody might think anywhere else? I mean, it is a stunning photograph over there. So, you know, keep an eye on it during the show, and I would love to see you guys throw out where you think it was. And of course, if you have any questions at all about Colette and about the tours and how all of this operates, please just throw them in the comments, and we'll do our best to get you the answers. This is your hour. If you have questions about Collette Tours, this is a great time to ask them, because Breanna knows a heck of a lot more about them than I ever will.
We'll get you there.
And why don't we just start out? I mean, we've seen the name, and actually I will say I've been seeing you guys advertise a heck of a lot more lately than I've ever seen advertising. You guys are popping up all over the place. So who is Colette? And, you know, maybe give us a brief overview, just a touch on the history and what you guys do.
Sure. So Colette, we've actually been around for 106 years. So I'm not sure, Walter, where you've been seeing. I'm wondering if maybe it was Wheel of Fortune. We have a really long partnership with them. We're actually going to be on it tomorrow night for Fan Friday. But we have been around for 106 years. And for a little bit of history, we started in 1918. A gentleman by the name of Jack Collette started Collette Tours. World War I had just ended. The Red Sox had won the World Series. And Puerto Rico was 54 cents per pound. So, wow. But fun fact, the first Collette tour that ever ran was a jitney bus where travelers left from Boston to Florida for 3 weeks. And I'm curious if you can guess how much that adventure might have cost.
Let's see. What year?
Back in 1918.
$25?
Oh, it was 65. It was 68.50.
68.50. Ooh.
3-week adventure.
68.50 for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow. Does that even get you a seat on the bus anymore? I don't know.
But so now with 106 years under our belt, we are a fully guided travel operator. We operate on all 7 continents. We have over 170 tours, and we have 5 unique travel styles that we'll talk about in a little bit. But before I go any further, I just want to ask you guys to do me a favor and set aside any preconceived notions that you might have of guided touring. I know back in the days you might have kind of an idea of what you think it is, but here at
Wait, you mean okay, everybody on the bus, sit on the bus, everybody get off the bus, take a picture, get on the bus. Wait, that's not how it works anymore?
No, not anymore. Not here. So hopefully by the end of this call, you guys will have a better idea of how the world of guided travel has evolved.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And I mean, you know, there is that notion, right? That especially with Collette Tours or pretty much any guided tour, and especially when you see some of these itineraries, like, oh my God, are we just going to be on the bus? We're going to hop off and take some pictures and then go run away. But why don't you kind of, you know, the big thing now is, locals leading you to local places and things like that. I mean, does Colette lean into that? Let's break that myth. What is a Colette tour more all about?
Sure. So we have our tours are designed not at our headquarters in Rhode Island, but by travelers that live in destinations. So we have people all over that are designing and leading our tours. So we kind of stole something I was going to say a little later, but we're good. But we don't operate with any DMCs, right? We do it all on our own with local travelers in destination that end up working for Colette. So I think that's kind of unique and a little bit different in the sense that we're our tour guides, our designers our buyers, everyone communicating on the grounds live in region. And what better way to explore like a local than from a local themselves, right? So
Right. I mean, and that's the cool thing too, because I mean, anybody could take you to the Coliseum, anybody could take you to, all the known places. But like when I go someplace, I want to go eat. I don't want to go where all the tourists are going. I want to know, well, where do you go to eat? I want to go there and go to that little dive that I would never find anywhere in the world. First of all, I will say Douglas has a guess. He's thinking Germany or Italy. So if you're just tuning in, folks, the question of the night, that way. The picture that's next to Breanna, I'm asking everybody, where in the world was that photo taken? Yeah, there you go, Colette, in stereo. I know, you got to figure out which way to go. But that photo is a beautiful photo of a vineyard. And the question of the night is, where is it? So we've got New Zealand, we've got Germany or Italy. And, do you want to answer a question about Portugal right off the bat? Look at that. Do we have any tours in Portugal? That's a great question.
We do. We have quite a few tours in Portugal. Everyone's jumping ahead. These were all for later. We were going to talk about them. Yeah.
Somebody jumped in and asked. I just figured we throw one in right now. Sorry to mess you up.
No, surprisingly enough, that is my dad. My dad.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, Dad, are you here to mess up your daughter? Is that what's going on here?
I'm wondering if he was guessing that Portugal was the photo. I'm gonna go ahead and say that.
Are you guessing that that Portugal is the photo? That's a good one. I like that. Okay. Kathy Keating, maybe the French coach, but I'd lean towards Italy. These are a lot of interesting guesses. New Zealand, Portugal, Germany, Italy. Got 4 different countries so far. I am loving that. Okay, let's get you back on track. Let's get back to that outline that you and I worked so hard on. Folks, we spent hours planning this show. So, I just want you to know a lot of work went into this, and I do not want to mess up Breanna tonight. We are so on it. All right, here we go. See, I told you it's just going to be casual. The show just goes off the rails pretty quickly. I should have warned you about that. We just kind of go sideways pretty quickly. And I don't even have a cocktail. You should see the show when I have a cocktail. It gets even better. And so what are the folks? And by the way, if you're just tuning in, we're talking to Collette Tours tonight. They have amazing land tours all over the world. Breanna is one of our favorite tour partners that we work with. We can do pre and post cruise extensions. And of course, they have amazing land tours. I mean, if you got a bucket list, they can fulfill that bucket list. So let's talk about, the regions and the areas that you cover. Like, where do you have tours?
So that's kind of easy to answer because, again, we have over 170. We have the 5 different travel styles. We go to all 7 continents. So essentially, I like to say we go everywhere except maybe those fun in the sun type destinations. So you're not going to see Caribbean. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I honestly have not had an advisor ask me for a city or a country that we didn't visit. So wow. I think, again, except those fun in the sun, but national parks, Croatia, Egypt, Japan, Hawaii, we go everywhere.
So I guess it's easier to say, where don't you go? And basically the Caribbean, but everywhere else, we're there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And And that kind of makes sense because, the Caribbean is kind of saturated, right? All inclusive, the cruises, everybody else goes there. So why would you go there when there's so many people already going there? You're going to go off and do different things.
Yeah.
And they really do go everywhere. I mean, there's like some out of the way places in Africa and up near the Arctic and, again, places where buses can't go.
Exactly. Yeah. So quite a few. And I keep mentioning these travel styles. So
yeah, why don't we jump into them?
Yeah, I think let's do that. So
you're saying that you have 5 different travel styles.
Correct.
That we can book.
So we categorize our tours by travel styles, and that's to kind of help travelers or your clients better understand what to expect on that tour, right? So the classic style tour, which is the bread and butter of Colette, those are gonna, in terms of size, those are gonna be a maximum of 44 travelers. So still a smaller group. Most buses hold 54 to 56. So even then the bus isn't full. And most tours average about 33. Now there might be certain destinations, certain times of the year where maybe you do hit that 44, but it won't ever be more than that. So those are our classic, and that's where all of the iconic, the must-see inclusions, experiences, all the things that you have to do when you go visit Italy, Paris, London, those are going to be included. You're going to see those places. And I like to say that the classic style tours are a good starter for maybe it's the first time you visited that destination, because you are going to see all of those, again, must-see places while you're there. And that makes up the majority of our, sorry?
No, go ahead.
that makes up the majority of our tours. But maybe 44 is too much for you. Maybe you do want something a little bit smaller. So in that case, we have our small group explorations. And this now more than ever is really taking off. So these ones, they max at 24 passengers and they average about 16 to 18. Same bus size. But because you're a smaller group, you get access to experiences, accommodations, maybe some transportation that you can't necessarily do with a larger crowd. So those are going to be more local cultural experiences too. Maybe more of the home-hosted meals with a nonna in Italy.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
we have quite a handful of.
Actually
more than a handful, but of
that would be great
cultural experiences like that, and that'll just hopefully throughout this, again, as I keep talking and telling you more and more, it's breaking that myth of guided touring, because I mean, how do you go to Italy and have dinner at a nonna's house?
Yeah. That is, I mean, I'm a big fan of pasta grannies on YouTube, so you're speaking my language right there.
We also have a spotlights tour. So these maybe you're a big cruiser, or maybe you're used to all inclusives. And a lot of times when you ask cruisers, I don't know what they would say to you, Walter, but when I ask them, they like cruising because they only have to unpack once. And so on our spotlights tour, you only have to unpack once and get comfortable because you're going to stay at that centrally located hotel for the entire duration of your trip. And that's going to give you more time in destination, more time to go and explore. And again, you're not packing, unpacking, packing, unpacking.
Very cool.
Those are a fan favorite. I mean, we have, just to name a few, like Spotlight on New York, Boston, San Antonio, London, Paris, Tuscany. So quite a few of those major cities. Maybe you went to Europe and you did Italy for a day. Or, sorry, maybe you did Tuscany for a day. Go back and do Spotlight on Tuscany and really get to know it for the 7 or 9 days that you're there. What better way?
Oh, my God. Yeah, because like on a cruise, you're just going to go in. Wow, this is nice. Take a bunch of pictures, get back to the ship. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But,
and folks, by the way, not to interrupt you, but did you notice she said New York, Boston, other places, they're in the United States too. So maybe you're somebody who wants to go to New York City. I mean, New York City, Broadway, Statue of Liberty. There's so many things to do, but it's also a very intimidating city to go to. You can do one of these spotlight tours and see New York like a New Yorker. That is so cool, Breanna.
And we have, I actually don't know if I'm supposed to say this yet, but
we won't tell.
In New York, I heard that one of the, because we do Broadway's on tour too, right? Like you have to go to New York and see a Broadway.
Right.
Hamilton. How exciting is that?
Hamilton. Yes.
Such a great, and again, like that's included. It's not in an add-on. You're not signing up for the tour and then selecting your Broadway and having to pay extra. When you go to New York,
That's included in the tour. Wow. Wow. You know, just quick sidebar, my brother-in-law was Mr. Mistopheles in the original run of Cats like 32 years ago on Broadway.
Okay. I have no idea what that is.
What? You don't know Cats? You don't know Cats, the Broadway show? Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, well, he was in the Winter Garden Theater 32 years ago. Oh my goodness gracious.
I'm going to get hate mail in the comments.
That's okay. Rebecca hates that show. You know, my wife's like, oh, Cats, of all shows, he had to be in that one.
That's funny.
Okay, so that was the Spotlight Tours. That sounds incredibly cool. Next.
Yep, and those ones are a max of 44 travelers too.
Okay.
But we also have faith-based tours. So these are a little different. They give your travelers a chance to get to know explore their faith on a deeper level. So we actually offer Catholic and Protestant tours, which the major difference between that would just be for the Catholic tours, Mass is included every day. Obviously, right now, due to current world circumstances, we are not operating in Israel, but we still have faith-based tours. So our Greece in the Footsteps of Paul itinerary is a traveler's favorite. And on this tour, you follow the path of Paul the Apostle as you discover the beauty and ancient history of Greece. So we still have many options available for that. And those are gaining popularity too. You'd be surprised. A lot of people exploring.
Does not surprise me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, I think this one might surprise you. Our last travel style is cruising.
Wait, what? No, this is a land show. We're not talking cruising.
I know, but we do. That's why I feel like we can confidently say that we have a tour for every type of your traveler, Walter.
Wow. Cruising is included. Are we talking river, ocean? What are we talking?
So both. We have a couple different, we don't have a ton of cruising itineraries, but we do have, in the US, we have Alaska, of course. So we have a 14-day Alaska land and sea where we do 7 days on land and 7 days on Holland America. We have a partnership with them.
Great cruise line. Great cruise line.
We have new this year too, or this is not new, but disregard. I got ahead of myself. We have river cruising in Europe, but new this year, Christmas on the Danube. I mean, I am dying to do Christmas markets and Christmas river, so that one is really high on my must-do next list. Also in Holland and Belgium, river cruise during the tulips. So that is, again, another one that I want to do. But we also have private small ship yachts. So in Croatia, you can get on a 38 passenger yacht and explore Croatia and its islands.
Oh my gosh, how cool.
Yep. Again, we don't have a ton. I would say maybe we have like 10 to 15. But they are a good option, especially the Croatia one, right? Like if you want to hop around the islands, get on a small private yacht, be guided, travel style.
Wow, folks, how many of you knew that they had like small private yachts that they could do? And then the river cruise, and then that partnership with Holland America. I mean, that's one of the best cruise lines up in Alaska anyway. So that's a heck of a partnership between you and them. But folks, if you're just tuning in, I'm Walter, your independent travel advisor with Where's Walter Travel. Tonight, we have the honor of speaking with Breanna from Collette Tours. A little different tonight. We're talking primarily about land tours. We're not talking so much about cruising, except, of course, now we do have some river cruises and almost private yachts, really, to go out on. So if you have any questions about Collette, about land tours, about where they go, anything, I do see. I don't know if you can really answer this one. I saw Douglas ask this a little while ago, but what do you think are maybe some of your most popular tours that are out there?
So I actually checked on that today. Give me just 1 second to pull that up.
She
I
was
wanted to
prepared,
see
Douglas. She knew you were going to ask that question. Look at that.
so I knew what the top like 5 are, but I hadn't like refreshed and checked in probably since the end of last year. So I checked again today just so I didn't get misquoted. And I can tell you that our most popular tour is our Shades of Ireland. So Shades of Ireland, year after year, just keeps staying on top. Iceland's Magical Northern Lights, that is in our top 5. Yep.
Oh, they do the Northern Lights, people. Oh, nice. Okay.
You can actually stay in a glass igloo. That one's in Finland for the Northern Lights, but I mean a glass igloo. I'll take that, please.
I'll take that. Sure.
But
Wow.
now I would say the 3 I's. So Ireland, Italy, and Iceland are our most popular tours.
That is awesome. Thank you, Douglas, for the question. Hey, Michael, thank you for joining in. And I always appreciate the kind words. Kathy's here, Rich is here, Betty's here, everybody's here. If you're just tuning in too, the other question is that way. Yes. Where in the world is that photo taken? That is a vineyard over there alongside of Breanna. We have New Zealand. I have Germany. I have Italy. I have Portugal. I have the French coast. If you have a guess, wager a guess as to where that photo was taken. It is a vineyard, a beautiful vineyard somewhere in the world. We will reveal it later, but talk amongst yourselves while we do this. And by the way, there are links down in the description if you want to get a hold of us at Where's Walter Travel. If you want to talk about Collette Tours, taking a tour. They only have 170 tours. We'll probably find one that you like out of 170. And really the only place in the world they're not operating is the Caribbean. Because, we got you covered with the Caribbean with so many ships. But, pretty much anything you want to do in the world, these guys do it. And no, you're not just going to be on a bus, hopping off a bus. I mean, one of the things we talked about, Breanna, that I thought was kind of cool, you said with some of these tours, not only are you going to get to see where some of the local places are, but you're actually, and I might be jumping ahead, but we were talking a little bit about getting around on some of these tours. You might be on a bus, you might be on a donkey, you might be on a camel. There's like all different ways that you might get around, right?
Yeah, so this is actually my favorite thing to talk about. So our transportation, or I would say our transportation, our accommodations, and our local cultural experiences are like my top 3, what you need to know about Colette. So transportation. We're going to pick transportation that's unique to the destination that we're staying in. So wherever we are, we're going to do our best as many times as possible to get you off that motor coach and on a local mode of transportation. So in Thailand, you could be driving a tuk-tuk through the night, through the town. There's a boat ride, and there you take 4x4 to the elephant sanctuary. So that's 3 separate ways that we're getting you off the bus and moving you around like the locals. Nice. On our Spotlights on Paris itinerary, you don't get on the motor coach one time. It is all metro because that's how they travel there, and we're able to do that. So you mentioned camels. I actually just got back from Morocco with Colette, and we had a camel ride.
Oh my gosh.
Camel ride through the
desert.
Awesome.
So how was it?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was a little scary. I didn't know how camels had to get down. They have to get down on their knees in order to push themselves up. Wasn't expecting that, so I was a little nervous, but it was a little bumpy of a ride.
You're up pretty high, right? Once they get up.
Yeah, but the views were beautiful. It was so nice.
Wow.
Morocco is actually a good segue into the accommodations because you're not just staying in Marriott's and hotel chains. So in Morocco, we also have the luxury tented camps. So it's a beautiful campsite. It's pretty luxurious, to be honest, if you're out in the middle of the desert. But we have that. I talked about the igloos in Finland. In Portugal, you can stay in a wine barrel as many times as you can.
Wait. You can stay in a wine barrel?
You can. You have to look it up. It's the coolest thing. That's that's number 2 on my bucket list right now.
That sounds like a very small accommodation. I don't know. I'm picturing. No, okay.
Obviously,
you're talking about.
I know. It's actually quite large. I think the igloo might be a little smaller than the wine barrel. But Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
we love just finding, and that's what our tour designers do such a good job at, because it's not about just going to a destination and crossing things.
Mhm.
Oh, saw the Eiffel Tower. Oh, saw the Sydney Opera House. Like
Right.
it's not just that. So when we go to the Eiffel Tower, we're actually going to have dinner in the Eiffel Tower, and when we go to the Sydney
Ooh.
Opera House, we're going to take a boat ride and see. We're going to get a tour of the Opera House. Then we're going to go on a boat ride and have dinner
Oh.
and get to see it at night all lit up. So it's about those extra
Oh.
experiences that really just add value and add to the trip of the lifetime, right? Referencing back that first
Wow.
video. So
Wow.
times have changed, huh?
Times have definitely changed. I mean, wow. I mean, you're definitely describing. There was a video that we kind of wanted to show, but I can't because it's copyrighted. But it is hilarious. It shows that traditional stuff. But wow, I mean, you guys are just bringing so much to the table. And I guess we said right at the beginning of the show we're going to start debunking a guided tour. And most people think, well, a guided tour is get on a bus, but basically a guided tour now is we don't have to think about it. We just show up and we know that we're going to be taken care of. We're going to get to experience local culture. We're going to get to experience things that we want to see, but without that stress of, okay, now how do we get there? Now, how do we find this? Now, a guided tour just means that all the pressure is off. You just get yourself there and then enjoy the vacation, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then in addition to that, so yes, you are seeing all the things you have to see, right? But you're also getting those
Mhm.
extra experiences and visits to places and experiences that you didn't know that you needed to do. You didn't know
Yeah.
you need to learn how to make meatballs from Nona. You didn't know that, you know? So,
You need to know that.
yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, Eric. Hi. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate you guys joining in. So you've been talking. I want to expound a little bit on transportation because we talked about that the other day, and you were talking about some of the extra steps and almost like the extra mile that you guys go through with transportation for the guests, especially when we book the flights as part of the entire package. That is something that we can do with Collette Tours. We can just go ahead and book the flights. They will handle everything. But you guys really it's not just, oh, we just have bulk flights, we're going to throw you on this one. You guys really think this through and you have a whole team behind that, right?
Correct. We have an air department that works very hard back at home office. But if you purchase air through Colette, you
Mhm.
do we're more than air. So you're not just purchasing air. It's actually a transportation package, which is
Oh,
something that travelers rave about, because what happens is when you book your tour and it's tour day, you have a private chauffeur, my little stress ball here, a private chauffeur come and pick you up, my stress car, come and pick you up from your home, a private chauffeur, take you to the airport. Now, once you get to the
wow.
airport and destination, you also have scheduled in-destination transfers.
Wow.
Take you to the hotel, you'll start the tour. Once you end the tour, again, you'll have those scheduled internal destination or internal transfers to get you back to the
Wow.
airport. And then when
Great.
you get back to the airport after your 2 weeks in Europe, you don't have to worry about where you parked your car, because the private chauffeur is going to be waiting for you.
The little car is going to be there waiting for
It's
you.
going to be there. So that's included when you
That's
purchase air
amazing.
through Colette.
That's
And
amazing.
not only that, but of course you also have access to our emergency services team. So if, God forbid, anything was to go wrong on tour, you don't have to call Walter at 2 a.m. You can call the emergency services team 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. They are always there. I think the callback time right now is 2 minutes, and emails might be 10.
Wow.
So we have
Wow.
a big team ready to assist,
Yeah.
and again, included in the transportation package.
I do appreciate that 24/7, so I don't have to hear that ding that you just heard at 2 in the morning and suddenly have to figure out how to do that. Now, one thing I will ask, I don't know if you have the answer right in front of you, but that part where they come pick you up and take you to the airport, is there a distance limit from the airport for that particular service, or is that as far away as they are?
Yep. So in the United States, it's a 50-mile radius to the airport.
Okay.
There you can extend if it's like, let's say 75 miles. It is a small upcharge
Okay.
depending on the distance. And then in
Okay.
Canada, it's 100 kilometers. And
Okay.
we serve it, or kilometers? Kilometers?
Yeah. Kilometers.
Kilometers. And we service most major gateways. So we have about 80 in the US and about 10 in Canada.
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow, so 80 different airports that you service in the United States. That's actually really, really cool. So again, if you live within a 50-mile radius, that's going to be included if you buy the transportation package. If you're 75 miles out, it'll be a little upcharge to do it. That little car will show up outside your house with the little driver ready to go and to take you in. That's a really cool service. So that is yet one more. Just take that off the list. Just really all you got to worry about is getting packed at that point, because the car's just going to show up. So it just makes it so much easier, people. And it was really, I saw a video from one of your, I don't know if it was one of your executives or something, where he was talking about that. He's like, look, we are there 24/7, 365. Doesn't matter what happens. We're going to get on the phone with you and we're going to solve it and fix it right then and there on the phone. They're not going to pass it off to the airline. They're not going to pass it off to somebody else. Colette will solve the problem.
Yep.
I love that.
And that is exactly
I love that.
what we do. Yep.
So Art Lang would like a wine barrel for double occupancy. I love it.
Walter, go ahead.
Yeah. So could the vineyard be in Spain? So now we've got another guess. Could that vineyard be in Spain? I love this, folks. You guys are throwing out some really good guesses out there right now. We're getting kind of close to revealing where it is, but we're not quite there yet. I thank you all for tuning in. And of course, if you have any other questions about tours, please go ahead and drop them in. So one of the things that I threw out to you is, some highlighted tours. And you've kind of highlighted a few, but I asked you to maybe think about 5 tours to highlight to our audience. So what have you got?
So I'd start with Japan. So our Japan past and present tour, it's a small group tour, but it's a cultural journey. So it goes from Tokyo to Osaka. You'll stay amongst Buddhist monks at a monastery. You will meet Ama pearl divers. So I don't know if you know too much about them, but these are these remarkable women that are just defying gender norms. They dive into the sea, they harvest oysters and pearls, and you get to watch them. Then you get to share a meal with them and talk to them. So it's a really we like to have impact tours on impact moments on tours, and that's probably one of my favorite. I think it's a pretty cool. I didn't even know that they did that. And so to get to eat with them and talk to them and experience it.
That is so freaking cool. Folks, how many of you expected to hear something like that tonight from Collette Tours? That's amazing, Breanna. That's awesome. And that's just the first one. Wow.
Just the first one. Yeah, it gets better. We also go to Patagonia. So this one actually has it's land, and then it has a 4-night cruise. And the tour is called Patagonia, Edge of the World, featuring Argentina, Chile, and then the 4-night Patagonia cruise. So on this one, you get to meet a local gaucho, and you get to learn all about his life on the ranch. Another local cultural experience. You get to spend the afternoon at a Patagonian estancia and enjoy lamb roast in the owner's home. And then you get to go on a cruise through the wilderness of Patagonia, which quite honestly, I keep seeing all these pictures and they're just so beautiful. Add it to the list.
Okay, that's 2 for 2 I didn't expect. Okay.
Let's see if you got this one. So the next one is our complete South Pacific tour. So this one is a classic. So that means maximum 44, and it's a little bit on the longer side. So this one is 27 days.
Wow.
Yep, 27 days. But it really, if you look on our website, when you look at a tour or in our brochure, we actually show the map of the country or countries where you're going. And it shows you the arrows. And when you look at this one, you're basically seeing all of Australia, or most of Australia, and all of New Zealand. So You get to go through the barrier reef on a high-speed catamaran. You get to see the little penguins at Phillip Island and learn all about the Tasmanian devil. This one also, I feel like I'm just going to keep saying this. Add it to the list because
Add it to the list.
that is a place
Add
that
it to
I would love to get to.
Yes. Any tour that has penguins, that is on my list. That is my spirit animal, a penguin.
I saw a video recently, you'd appreciate this, on TikTok, of someone at a zoo or something, and the penguin was trying to go down the slide, and he slipped and fell, and everyone was laughing at him. It was so sad. The penguin did not deserve that.
You know, if you go to SeaWorld here in Orlando, they have, you know, the big penguin area, and there's a swim tank where the ledge is very low, and there's one penguin that always jumps the ledge and comes right out to where everybody is. It's freaking hilarious. And he just stands there and looks around at everybody.
That's cute. Yeah. Oh, they're cute.
Yes. Okay, 3 awesome tours so far. Wow. What's next?
Northern Lights of Finland. So we kind of talked about it. A small group. On this tour, you get to lead your very own dog sled team. This is where you will spend the night in that glass igloo. And then you get to meet reindeer and Santa Claus. So I just feel like that's cool.
Oh, I mean, you get to meet reindeer. So we get to tell him personally what we want and how good we've been this year.
Exactly.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
I know.
I love it. Wow.
And then the last one I picked is, again, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but it's Croatia and its islands. I feel like Croatia is really gaining popularity recently, at least in my experience. But it's small ship cruising on the Adriatic coast. It's 38 passengers. You get to visit Korčula Island, which is the debated birthplace of Marco Polo. You'll see the waterfalls, and then you'll do another local cultural experience where you meet the owner of a family farm and learn about prosciutto I knew I was going to mess that up. Prosciutto production.
That's okay. I butcher everything. When I'm going over itinerary for a client, I'm like, it starts with a P, it starts with a Q, it starts with a T.
It's like, and it was pro. So. But yeah, no, a lot of it. I mean, I could keep going. There's just Australia's outback, British landscapes. There's treasures of Egypt. There's just so many iconic destinations.
So folks, there you go. I mean, there are so many tours out there. And I have actually, you know, some of you have reached out to me for cruises, and because of the specific things you want to do, we've actually flipped you guys over to a land tour instead, because, you know, let's face it, cruising is a fabulous way to vacation, but you don't always get the amount of time that you want to get, especially in Europe, where the ports might be an hour or 2 hours away from the thing that you actually want to see. You know, like in the Caribbean, you just walk off the ship and you're right there. So, you know, I have actually started leaning into some of these land tours a little bit more. And I love the fact that you have that 7-7 with Holland America up in Alaska. I've started taking a look at that. And this yacht. I'll say the same thing too. I'm getting a lot more requests for the Adriatic side, like, you know, starting in Venice and coming down to Greece and hitting Croatia along the way. I'm seeing a lot more requests for that versus, you know, everybody. I think the other side's getting a little saturated. So going the other way is actually a pretty cool way to do that. Kathy is saying that her eldest son was Vintner in Tasmania. I just love saying Tasmania. It's just so much, you know, of course, I always think of the cartoons, but you do know the Tasmanian devil on the cartoons, right? You know that one. Okay, good, because I stumped you before. But that's awesome. Thanks, Kathy. And I'm looking for more votes. That vineyard over there to the side of Breanna. If you think you know where in the world that photo was taken, do drop it into the comments. And if you have any questions, drop them into the comment. You know, what are you've kind of hit on it, but I do want to throw the question out there again in case there's anything else that we've missed. But, you know, what are some of the differentiators or standout features? You know, we have talked about the local, we have talked about a little bit about the different types of transportation, but is there anything that we haven't touched on yet that really differentiates Colette, how you operate and how your tours operate?
Yeah, so I would say right off the top of my head, our pacing. So we have fewer one-night stays, which means, again, less packing and unpacking and more time in location, getting to know that destination and experiencing things. So we average 2 to 3 hotel stays per, or sorry, 2 to 3 nights per hotel stay.
Okay.
Most of them are, again, 2 or 3. Sometimes there'll be 4. There might be 1 here or there, depending on where we are, where we need to get to. But we really try not to do those one nights because nobody wants to keep packing and unpacking. So I definitely say that. And then we also offer choice on tour. So this is where you kind of get to customize your trip a little bit. We offer it on about, I think right now we're up to 73% of our tours.
Oh, wow.
And there's like 2 to 3 different times you can use this per tour, or like 2 to 3 different options that we offer it on. But essentially, let's say you're in Costa Rica, you can either take a walking tour of the hanging bridge in Cloud Forest, or you can quite literally zip through nature on a zip line. So that is something that your travelers, you guys have the choice to choose, so that you can, again, customize that in your way and you're doing things that you're comfortable with. And that's something that we haven't touched on yet, but activity levels. So all of our tours, again, if you go online or you're looking on the brochure, they all have activity levels. And essentially it's ranked between 1 to 4. A 1 is going to be light, leisurely. You can climb at least 1 flight of stairs. And a 4 is going to be very active. So you're ready to seize the day no matter what it might bring. You might see uneven terrain, maybe some steep slopes. Maybe you're standing for long periods of time. When you go on the website and you're looking at a tour, we will highlight that. You can click it and it'll give you a more detailed idea of what to expect. But it's important to review the activity levels before you book your tour so that you know what to expect, and ultimately you can have the most amazing experience.
Wow.
So I think that's important.
No, it is. And it's really important to know that too. You know, like for me, I'm going to be the 4 on almost every one of them. Rebecca's probably going to be a 2 on most of those, you know, because I'm that zip line all the way. She's going to go walk across the bridge instead. But that's really cool, because that's really, really important, obviously, when you've got so many different people. And, you know, before you even take the tour, you want to know, well, am I going to be comfortable going on this? Is there going to be enough that I can do or that I want to do? I mean, that's really important to put that out there right in the front.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
What else?
By the way, you're going to love this comment, because you and I talked a little bit about this. Betty's saying, I think we have a group tour in the making. Funny you should say that, Betty. Breanna and I were actually talking about that a couple of days ago. And I have a local rep that I'm going to be meeting with in the near future to talk about that very thing. So stay tuned, Betty.
And Betty, I will tell you that I'm going to let Walter talk to Kim, but when you book a group, don't think that does not mean that you don't get your little private car. You get something a little better. You get a little private bus. So you still have transportation when you book the air as well. So we do a hometown pickup for groups. And what we'll do is we'll have someone come pick you guys up from a centrally located. The group will decide where, and we'll come pick you up and take you to the airport.
Gotcha.
That's
awesome. And if it was, you know, Dr. Teeth and the Mayhem bus that showed up, that would be even better. But, you know, I'm going to think probably not. So, okay. Well, yeah, Betty, so stay tuned. Stay tuned on that. Is there anything, you know, since we kind of touched on groups, is there any other advantages or anything that folks should know? And we're not going to go in depth on groups. You even said it yourself earlier. We could spend a whole show just talking about groups, and maybe we will with Kim at some point. But is there, you know, anything that folks should know just briefly in general? Because a lot of folks that are watching this know about groups on cruises. They know how those work. Is there any advantage, or is there anything folks should know about setting up a group with Colette?
Yeah, I think most of the like advantages or things to know would be more geared towards you, Walter. I think for the traveler, and I don't know how it works on the ships, but I know with other operators, if you, let's say you, Betty, let's say you have you're like, I want 15 of us to go on this trip. And you tell Walter that 15 of you are going on this trip. Let's say 2 of them back out and you only get 13. Sometimes other companies, depending on what they do, they might say, oh, but you said 15, so now we can't go.
Gotcha.
Walter's not going to have to come back to you and say, I'm sorry, Betty, but you didn't get 15, so we're not going. You and your 13 will still leave. You don't have to worry about that. So I would say it's risk-free in the sense that there's no minimum group size. There's no pressure. If you aim for 15 and you don't get it, that's okay. You and your 13 will still leave.
Oh, wow.
I think that is, from what I hear, a nice thing for travelers and advisors to hear. It's important.
It takes all the pressure off because you're like, oh man, don't anybody, because, you know, I've had some cruises where, you know, you need to have 16 people and it's like, we're right at 16. It's like, dear God, don't anybody cancel, please don't cancel. Because they're still going to go on the cruise, but they're going to lose all the benefits. You know what I mean? But yeah, I've heard of that with land tours that they might even just cancel the whole freaking thing. And that would be awful.
Yeah, not us. And also, while we're talking about canceling departures, we have over 70,000 guaranteed departure seats this year. So that means if you go online and you see a departure date that says guaranteed, no matter what, that tour is leaving. So again, you don't have to worry about, oh, Colette didn't get a certain amount of passengers on this, so we have to cancel. Just make sure when you're booking, you try to select one that is guaranteed, and then it's guaranteed. You're going. Pack your bag.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, you know, I want to go back to, we talked about activity levels a little while ago, you know, 1 to 4 in the activity levels. And you and I talked about this a little bit the other day when we were chatting, but accessibility has become a big issue. Not an issue, but it's become more prevalent, especially in the cruising world. You know, we have scooters, we have walkers, we have people who maybe can't walk that far. Let's talk about accessibility. And I know, like you said, you are all over the world and accessibility is going to vary depending on where you are. But are there like specific types of accommodations or things that either Colette does or maybe some areas of the world that would be better for accessibility?
Yeah, so when it comes to accessibility, we do review that on a case-by-case basis. And we really do make these decisions with the traveler in mind. We want them to be on a tour that has the appropriate accommodation that they need. So we do accommodate various wheelchairs, walkers, and canes on a large number of our tours. Okay. There are, like you said, going to be destinations that typically the more exotic ones, maybe like Japan, Iceland, Africa, where we're not able to make those accommodations for a mobility device. But again, we do our absolute best to identify a traveler's special request at the time that the reservation is created, so that we can set the appropriate expectation for the tour. I'm sure that you know this too, Walter, but other countries, they don't have the ADA laws that we have in the US. So
well, they don't.
The experience with travelers and mobility devices outside of the US can be a difficult experience.
But this is something that we can have a discussion with. So basically, if a traveler comes to me and they want to go to Africa and they need a scooter, well, that's going to be, okay, let's look at that specific tour. And because there might be places in South Africa where you're going to the cities and whatnot that's going to work. But that is a discussion that we can have with our partners at Colette and say, okay, here's the specific need for this client. Can they go on this tour? And obviously we want to make sure that, you know, Colette's not just going to send you on a tour and just say, well, you know, that's your problem. It's going to be like, no, we're not even going to take you on the tour because you're not going to get what you deserve out of this tour. Let's find another tour that you can go on.
And sometimes it ends up being hotels, quite honestly. Like there's a hotel in Italy that we stay at where it's a 10-minute walk uphill just from where the bus drops you off. And they don't have golf carts or any way to come get you. So that's where those activity levels also play a part. And not all Italy tours are going to be a level 4, but that one solely due to the hotel will be.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'd say case by case.
Yeah. So this is a really good question because this is a hot topic in cruising from Becky here. Cruising is known for putting the squeeze on the solo travelers. And what she means by that is solo travelers can pay 200% over what the double occupancy people will. So so how does, if somebody wants to travel solo on Colette, how does that work?
I would say it definitely, again, varies by the tour. We are having I'm sure everyone is honestly in this guided space, but having a difficulty with hotels getting multiple solo rooms. They quite honestly just don't want to give them to us. So we have few single room supplements per tour. The pricing, I don't think it's as outrageous as that. 200% by any means. I actually haven't. I don't know how the pricing compares. I know for a personal thing that I just booked through Colette, it was actually cheaper to do a solo than a double. So I think it depends on the destination, the country that you're visiting. But we have a ton of solo travelers, and if let's say you put a group together for solo travelers and you have 10. I don't know if we can get 10, but if you come to us early enough, we can negotiate with the hotel and try to get those 10 rooms for you. But it's the hotels not being able to or not wanting to.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So the hotel's not wanting to give you the solo rooms. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. With
Sorry,
cruising,
Becky,
it's
I don't
always
have a better
like,
answer.
hey, but that's an answer. No, we appreciate you jumping in there. But with cruising, it's like if you're in a double occupancy cabin, you got to pay for both people minus the port fees and taxes for that second person.
Yeah.
Is how a lot of them do it. So that's a great question, Becky. Thank you for asking. I do appreciate that. And folks, it's almost been an hour. So that picture's been sitting there for almost an hour. I'm going to give you one last chance to take some guesses. I'm not saying if any of you are right or wrong. We've had some guesses already, but that beautiful picture sitting there next to Breanna is a vineyard somewhere in the world. And if you want to take a last, we got like 5 more minutes or so, let me know where it is, and then I'll tell you at the end of the show. I'm not going to leave you hanging. I will tell you where it is. But let's see. So we've talked about groups. Oh, you know what's a good one? And this is great. You did this this morning, but some tips. This is a good time for some tips. And you came up with a good one. 5 ways to get the most out of your guided tour. And who better to answer that question than Breanna? So Breanna, go.
Okay, so I would say first, make use of your guide, engage with them, ask questions. I actually just recently learned this, but 1 in 1,000 tour guides that apply to work at Colette get hired. 1 in 1,000.
Wow.
So we are very selective. We vet them. We have the best of the best, in my opinion. I've gotten to know quite a few of them, and really at the end of the day, all they want is to make the trip as enjoyable as possible for you. So communicating your needs, asking them questions, they can curate content based on your individual needs. So our tour guides are the best of the best. Engage with them. I would say that's my first tip. The second one is take advantage of the free time that you have on your trip. So we don't want you to feel like you're on that strict go schedule. Go and explore. Often we include most meals, but not all. And so this gives you the opportunity to go out on your own, take those recommendations from friends and families, maybe go see a different site you haven't visited yet, or eat at a certain restaurant. But take advantage of that time. Again, you can also ask the guides, like, hey, do you have any recommendations for tonight? And they will gladly give you some.
That's awesome.
And be open to making friends with your group. So when asked what is our demographic, I like to say that they're social butterflies. So if you're going on a guided tour, you more so want to make friends, and that is what you'll do. Like the amount of stories that we hear from travelers when they return about how they made friends with another couple. And actually more recently, I heard a story of a couple making friends with another couple, and neither of the couples had children.
Oh.
They've now taken 7 trips together. Every year, these 2 couples go together. And I know from experience myself, my first out-of-country experience was on a guided tour. And I met girls from Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and I still talk to them.
Wow.
So you really do come back making friends for life. So be open to that. And then just kind of circling back to the first one a little bit, don't be afraid to ask questions. The best way to maximize your guided tour experience is by asking questions. So your guide is a wealth of knowledge about destinations, cultures, history. Remember, they're locals, so they have those insights. And this reminds me of referencing back that Morocco trip, we were on the bus and we were driving. I forgot where we were driving to, but there was a funeral procession outside, and it was just men. There was probably like 100 men just walking down the street in the procession. And one of the team members was like, "How come, Muhammad? Like, why aren't there any women? Like, it's all men." And so he talked to us. He explained the history and why it was that way. But that was a question that we asked, right? Like, we saw something we weren't sure and we just asked. So don't be afraid to ask questions. And then don't be afraid to try new things and step outside of your comfort zone. So when you're traveling on a guided tour, it presents opportunities to try new things. So embrace the unfamiliar. It can lead to personal growth, memorable adventures, and a deeper appreciation for these diverse cultures. So I like to reference in Finland when you get to try reindeer. Personally, not something I'm comfortable with, but if I'm going to Finland, I will try the reindeer because you're in Finland. So just don't be afraid to try new things and get a little uncomfortable would be my tip.
You know, I always tell everybody, try everything once. You know, you may not like it, but try it. You're there. I mean, there's so many global experiences. There's a fabulous series, I think it's on Netflix, called The Reluctant Traveler. It is absolutely fabulous. I'm blanking on the gentleman's name right now, famous actor from Schitt's Creek. Fabulous show. And he just did not want to go anywhere in the world, and it kind of dragged him. And, you know, he has all these amazing experiences, which is fabulous. We're almost to the point where I'm going to reveal that. But first, we are the first ones to know about this. We have a sale that's starting, well, technically for the public on April 8th, but I and travel advisors will have early access starting Monday. What can we say, Breanna?
I think we can say that we are offering up to 20% off tours worldwide.
20. I got the whole list right here. I can't show you the list.
Walter has the whole list. So
I have the list right here.
Reach out to him because, like he said, he has exclusive access to this for a week. So
this is not April Fool's. It starts on April Fool's, but this is not April Fool's.
And spots are filling. People are traveling. I'm sure you guys know, especially from the cruise industry. So definitely don't wait. Reach out to Walter Sunday at 11:59 p.m.
I will be up at midnight, and I will start booking at midnight. But folks, basically the entire world is on sale. Yeah, I can't tell you anything else besides that, but I can tell you this grid that I have. Basically, the entire world's on sale. Exclusive access to travel advisors like myself starting Monday for a week, and then the general public. So, you know, you get the best slots, you get the best opportunities, you get the best tours, you get the best of everything if you book with me for that week before everybody else gets a chance to get in there, right? So thank you for that, Breanna. Thank you for the tease.
Of course.
I love that. All right, folks. Wow, Breanna, we've been going over an hour.
We have.
How about that? So I definitely want to thank you, and I want to thank everybody for watching. I guess now is the time that I will finally tell you. So we've got, wait, I want to go back. We've got, the first one was, so we got New Zealand, Germany, Italy, maybe Portugal, the French coast, but leaning towards Italy. Naples is in here. That might be Spain. And there we go. I can tell you that all of you were wrong. Every last one of you were wrong. Believe it or not, Western Canada. This is Calgary, Alberta, is where that vineyard is. This is part of the Western Canada's Rockies, Lakes, and Wine Country in Canada. 9 days, 13 meals starting at $29.99, people. And you can go experience that amazing, nope, Art, you were wrong, Canada. So highlights, Calgary, Albertan barbecue, Banff, Bow Falls, Lake Louise, Revelstoke Railway Museum, Okanagan Valley, vineyard dinner and wine tasting in that gorgeous vineyard, Vancouver, Stanley Park, and Granville Island. So folks, you've been staring at Calgary, Alberta, Canada this entire show. That's pretty awesome.
You guys aren't the only ones. He asked me where the picture is from. I didn't get it right either.
It really does look like somewhere else, but honest to God, here it is again. Just so you know, I'm not making it up. There's the picture, Western Canada, right there. That's awesome. So Breanna, I can't thank you enough for coming on here and helping to break some myths of what a guided tour is. I hope everybody now understands that a guided tour just simply means you just go on vacation and enjoy. You're going to get to do the things you want to do. You just don't have to think about it. Somebody else is taking care of it all for you.
Yep.
That's what it comes down to. So folks, I want to thank everybody at home for tuning in tonight. I am Walter, your independent travel advisor with Where's Walter Travel. Links are in the description, or just go to where'swaltertravel.com, set up an appointment. I give you a call. Our services are 100% free. Why wouldn't you use a travel advisor? I get to connect with Breanna, her colleagues Kim, so I get to work directly with these people while their 1-800 services are absolutely fabulous. You can work with me one-on-one, and I can get to more personalized attention to you. We can set up land tours. We can set up pre and post cruise extensions with Colette. So Breanna, I thank you so very much for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me. It was so nice to engage with all of you and see all of your wonderful comments come in.
Awesome. Well, everybody have a fabulous evening. Remember, we'll be back here with Cruise Chat Live on Sunday morning at 10:30, and then right back here next Thursday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Thank you, everybody, and have a fabulous evening. Good night.